சார் குட் ஈவினிங் சார். சார் குட் ஈவினிங் சார். வணக்கம் சார், சொல்லுங்க சார்.
shall we start the session, ma'am?
Yeah, ma'am. Shall we start, ma'am?
Yeah,
Chitra, ma'am, shall we start?
yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Ma'am, shall we start or shall we wait for a few more minutes to join participants?
If participants are coming, we can wait, no issues.
Okay, 2 more minutes we can wait for this one.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Shall we can start the session?
Priya ma'am, shall we start the session, ma'am?
Start the session. Start Krishna.
Yeah, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 5th day of the session. Atal Academy sponsored the 2-week faculty development program, IoT-driven wearable devices for healthcare and defense application. Today, the topic is time management. And then the second topic is stress management. And then the third topic is the third session is about the interactive session. So now I call upon Shakuntala ma'am, Assistant Professor, SciTech, to give introduction about our resource person. Shakuntala ma'am, please ma'am, welcome.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening to everybody. I am Shakuntala, Assistant Professor, EC Department from Siddharth Institute of Engineering and Technology, Puttur. I feel very happy to introduce our today's chief guest, Dr. Ajitra, MD, psychiatrist from Tirupur. Currently, she is working as a, is it audible, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. You can proceed, ma'am.
Oh, thank you. Currently, she is working as a consultant psychiatrist in Revati Medical Care Center, Chennai. She has completed her UG from Mel Marvatur Adiparashakti Institute of Medical Sciences, Chennai. And also, she completed her PG from Madurai Medical College, Madurai. She did her research work on post-stroke depression and its quality of life. And one more research is case report of SLE processing as depression. And she delivered more lectures in multiple schools and colleges regarding internet addiction, exam anxiety, personality development, work-life balance, etc. She is interested in psychiatrist, rehabilitation, and also writing poetry, blogs, etc. Such a great personality with us as resource person today. She is going to share some views on time and stress management. It is very helpful to every one of us. So please attend the session without fail. I welcome you, ma'am. And I hand over the session to Ajitra, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for welcoming. So I'm Dr. Ajitra, working as a consultant psychiatrist in Revati Medical Center, Tirupur. So shall I share my slides, or will you be sharing?
Share your slide.
Yeah, okay. Okay, is it visible? Is it visible?
Avoid the road closures on National Highway 71. You are on the fastest route. You should reach your destination by 7:17 p.m.
Is it visible, ma'am?
No, actually, we are unable to see the screen.
Are not able to. Okay. How about now?
I'm also, we can't see this.
No, ma'am, not yet we seen your screen.
Just a minute.
Kindly click share button, ma'am.
Yeah. Is it visible now?
Yes, we can able to see, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay, okay, thank you so much. Okay. So, good evening, everyone. So, thank you, everyone. So, before starting the session, I'd like to thank Atal Academy and Siddharth Institutions for inviting me. So, I'd like to also thank my professor, Dr. Sugadev, for suggesting me to give a lecture here. So, I'll start this session here now. So, when you hear the word time management, so I think it is very common for everyone because it is very necessary in everybody's life. It is very much the necessity that is when it comes into the personal space or professional space, everybody is running out of time. Everybody is chasing the time. So let us see how this time can be managed effectively. So let me start with a small introduction what time management is. So time management, it is actually a range of skills, tools and techniques. It is used to manage times while accomplishing any specific task. It can be anything. It can be a simple task like catching a bus or just booking a ticket, or it can be a big task like finishing a project or finishing some deadlines. So it is used to manage time when accomplishing specific tasks, projects, and goals. So what is this time management? It is not just a simple word actually. So it includes a lot of things which all collectively it is known as time management. This includes that is planning, then you have to allocate and you have to set goals, delegation, and you have to analyze the time spent in any of the tasks you do, and you have to monitor, organize, schedule, and prioritize. So we'll see all these and how this can be handled. So all these collectively is called as time management. So time management, it doesn't mean not setting all the things right actually. It is just doing the things at the right time. There are sometimes we call it as right moment. We are supposed to do something at right moment which can lead us to some good path or any success. So that is not making things right. It is doing the right things at right time. And next is being in control of life and not driven by circumstances, because we are just preoccupied with many things. And if we keep on focusing on everything, we lose our time and we cannot be controlled and we cannot have a balanced life. So it is time management is all about being in a control of life. And it is also enjoying the journey. It is not something to stress upon. It is not something to burden upon. It is just to enjoy the journey of life every day in our life. And it is not to wait for something perfect. There is nothing called as perfect time. Then there is nothing called as perfect day. So it is not just waiting for a perfect day in the future. And it is all about having a right balance in our wheel of life. So there are many time wasters in our life. So as we are very busy, we chase running behind of the time, we do not recognize what are we wasting. So once we start recognizing what are the time wasters, it is very easy to manage time. So there are two types of wasters. One is major wasters, another is minor wasters. So major wasters, it is first thing is disorganization. So disorganization, it means that we are not in an organized way. We do not keep everything in a schedule. We do not keep things in an organized way. So for example, there are people who run to office. They have to run just 10 minutes left to run and catch the bus or take a car. So, but we can see people searching for car keys for 5 to 10 minutes. So that is how it is being disorganized. So we don't have a habit of keeping some things which is very necessary for us in the right place. So when we come in tired, we put it somewhere, it becomes disorganized. When these disorganization clump together, it becomes a messy. So disorganization is the major time waster. Next is procrastination. Procrastination, it can be due to fear of doing some task or any criticisms of being done or anything we keep on procrastinating. That is, we keep on saying it can be done tomorrow, it can be done day after tomorrow. We also give some silly reasons like I'm not feeling to do it today. I have something else to do today. So that is called as procrastination. And fear to delegate, which means our works can be given to some other people. We are fear to delegate some works. We are not aware which works can be delegated to others, which work should not be delegated to the others. That is also a primary time waster. And there are situations we do not say no. That is, when there will be, for suppose, for example, if we are living in an apartment, you may have neighborhood people, you may have friends and relatives around an apartment. There are times your friend may come and call you that, please accompany me. I just want to go to audit office. There are times you hesitate to say no because he is my neighborhood people. If I say what does he think of? We keep on thinking what the other thinks or other person thinks. So for these reasons, we keep on saying, okay, let me accompany you. But the moment you're accompanying him, you might be having a big task to do. And next primary thing is not knowing your priorities. So which work to be done first, which work can be done to at the later stages. So if you have a priority list, like you have to pay fees to your child, you have to finish a deadline in your office, you have to get something for your wife. So you are not able to make a clear clarity and which one to be prioritized. So this can also lead to a big time wasting. And other minor time wasting things can include, the first primary thing is telephone calls. So telephone calls, it can be from friends, it can be from relatives, it can be from neighbors, and there are many customer cares calling frequently. So there are few people who calls just to gossip. So these kind of things are completely wasting our time. And you can also see there are a lot of companies calling customer cares calling unwantedly, and we spend a lot of time with them. We get deviated with them. So that is one minor time wasting. And next is unexpected visitors, which we cannot even stop. You might be having some plans at home, but very unfortunately, there might be someone coming and there is no way you have to welcome them. You have to make them sit, you have to offer them something. So these are unexpected visitors. And next is it is one of the big thing actually, that is needless browsing. So as our technology advances, where we keep on surfing many things in the internet, we keep on using the mobile phones very frequently. So we don't have any reason to look the mobile phone sometimes. We keep on seeing Instagram, we keep on seeing Facebooks or any social medias. And if you watch down yourself, if you introspect yourself, you can also see that there will be many notifications the applications will send. So you just go inside the applications, you keep on surfing that. So this is a big time waster. And next is some unnecessary meetings. Unnecessary meetings in the sense, nowadays as it is becoming very technologized, most of the things has been have come in online. So there is no differentiation between personal space and professional space. This can also waste your personal space of time. And you can also come to our culture. Many of them come and give invitations, marriage invitations, and many a time we have to go and attend the marriages because of the societal thing. So these are few things when you really don't. Is that okay? Is that okay? Can you continue? Okay. So unnecessary meetings, like we keep on going for marriages, which we really sometimes we feel like it's not necessary to go, but very unfortunately we are in societal rules. We may need to go for the societal relationship. So these are the time wasters which we face in our daily life. So there are factors which can waste time and cause stress. The one is procrastination, as I said before. So then the second one is guilt. So we always keep dwelling on the past. We keep on thinking about the past events. We keep on worrying what has happened in the past. We keep on thinking about, I have wasted so much time in the past, and have some guilt on that. And second thing is worrying. So we keep on worrying about future. What will happen? So when you plan to do a task, you may think that what if I don't do this task, what will happen in my future? Whether I'll be debarred from this, whether I won't be given the correct salary. So thinking about the future and worrying about the future ruins most of the time. And next is not able to say no, as I said earlier. And next is not organized. That is also, it is both in the personal space and professional space. Be not being organized can waste a lot of time. And next is not having a goal. That is, there are people who just moves with whatever that comes. So when we set some plans, when we set some goals, we can plan it accordingly and we do not waste time. And now let us see how this time management can be done. What are the skills which can help in managing all your time? So the first technique it is called as think on a paper. So when we sit and think something, there are a lot of thoughts. It is not only about a single thought that stays in our mind. So from the morning, you have to pay an electricity bill, you have to take care of your children, you have to pay the school fees, you have to go and meet your grandparents, you have to do your obligations to your parents, and you maybe need to you will have commitments in your office. So you have many things on your mind. So when you want to accomplish something, you should be clear. So when you keep on thinking, it is very biased, you are very confused, what should be done first, which should be done first, and you can also feel very stressed of having many commitments. So first decide exactly what you actually want, what you want to do, and write down your plans in a paper. So writing down on a paper has a very great impact, because it becomes very clear. There is some vision in front of you. You can see in the paper what are your list of things. So then after writing down all your plans, you make a list. What should be done tomorrow? What should be done day after tomorrow? What should be done next month? So you can make a to-do list. And you do a prioritize. So which to be prioritized first? So which need to be given importance immediately, which can be given later. So you can prioritize your list, then you organize your schedule. You can schedule yourself, you can dedicate yourself with all the necessities you have. And set a deadline. Every time setting a deadline is important, though it creates a little bit of stress when you set deadlines. But whenever you set a deadline, you're forced and you're positively forced towards the deadline. After setting a deadline, you can take an action. So when you're setting goals, it should always be SMART goals. So SMART, which means specific. So specific, that is your goal should be clear and concise. That is, whenever you sit and decide a goal, you can keep asking many questions in you, whether it is a necessary goal and whether I'm clear about it, whether I can, whether this is what I actually need. These are the questions you can put yourself to decide whether this goal is specific. Next is measurable. So whether this goal is very vague or whether it is quantifiable, whether you are able to quantify this goal, like whether the intention of the goal is whether up to the level what you expect. So that is measurable, and whether it is attainable. So we may have many dreams actually. So not all dreams are practical in the not practical with the living of the life. It is very good to dream, but anyways, you also have to be very practical to attain the goals. So whenever you set a goal, you should always think whether these goals are attainable. And you have to see whether it is relevant, to your situation, whether it is relevant to your either business or either your professional or your personal field. Whether it is relevant. So you have to think on it and work out on it. And whether it is time bound, whether you can allot some time for them. So all these things to be done so that your goals are SMART. So next is you have to plan everything in advance. When we plan everything in advance,
Sir, mute all the participants.
okay, so plan everything every day in advance. So whenever we decide something at the moment, it will be very difficult to take decisions. It is very difficult to make solutions, and it is very difficult to manage the time. So every time when you plan everything in advance, you have a clear view of your problem. You have a clear view of what you're going to do. So we say it is a 6P formula. So proper prior planning of events prevents poor performance. So if you plan everything in beforehand, that is, everything can be planned the day before you are going to do something. So it can increase your performance, and you can also expect good results. So next is this is called as 80-20 rule to manage time. This is one of famous rule actually. So it is also called as Pareto's principle. It is because Pareto has discovered this principle. So Pareto is actually an Italian economist. So what he discovered is actually in Italy, he found that 80% of the land has been occupied by 20% of people. With this discovery, further Joseph, he has experimented on this, and he applied this to make use of it in our present sense, that is for time management. So what is this 80-20 rule means? That is, when you're planning for a task, so when you're planning for a task, there will be many things you have to do for a task. There is like 20% of things or efforts you have to do. That are the important things which may be needed for your success in making the task. Whereas some other 80% of things that will be present, that are minute things, which is not necessary and is not going to create any impact on the task to get completed. So what this rule says is, concentrate on that 20% instead of concentrating on that 80%. So 80% is you are putting so much of energy, you're investing most of your time, but you're not getting the outcome. But there is some 20% in your ability or whatever it is for the task. So that 20% can be concentrated. You can work out that 20% so that you don't want to invest so much of time for that 20%. So get whatever the results you expect. So this can be done by making a list. That is, you can just list out. If, for example, if you are planning to prepare a project. So if you are planning to prepare projects, like whatever things you need, some laptops, and you need some plans, and you may need some groups, and you may need some your own ability skills, like you can use your own skills like planning, execution, or confidence, whatever it is. So you can use that, and you may also need research articles. You may also need some books for reference. And you may also need some peers, help from the peers. You may need from expert opinions. So all this can be listed when you are planning for a project. So now you can think which is going to give you the best results. So keep all that which is going to give best results as 20%, and which is which is not going to give any good results, you can keep it as 80%. So doing those 20% in the first can finish most of your work, and you can achieve the success very earlier. So next is doing one task at a time. So many a times if we see, we keep on doing multitasking. So many a times it is also proud to say that we do multitasking. But what actually happens is, multitasking is not actually working much when compared to doing one task at a time. So when you're doing one task at a time, you're completely giving the attention to one particular task. So you can dedicate yourself completely. You can think very clearly. You can make it very complete and in a perfect way. But while doing a multitasking, you are not able to give your complete attention to one single task. Your attention is getting divided to multiple tasks. So it requires a lot of time. You're not aware how much time you're wasting for the other tasks you're doing. So this can create most of the bias, and it also will decrease the work performance by 40%, and it will also decrease your cognitive abilities by 20%. So it is said that though there is a myth that multitasking works well, it is always said that you have to do one task at a time to make it to reach success and to save time. And it can, once you finish one task, you can next move on to the other task. So this is one method. This is called the salami slice method. So this is that the salami chicken, like when you are having it as a whole, it is very difficult to bite. It is very difficult to chew and eat it. But when you cut it into pieces and then you can eat it very easily. The same thing has been transferred to the time management principle. So when the work is very complex, it may appear very frightened. Oh, this is such a big work. How can I do this? So what you do is you just procrastinate. Oh, I don't want to do this. I'll do it later. So when the complexity of work is very high, you feel afraid of doing it, and you may also procrastinate. And this can
అంటే 3 రోజుకి 6,000 6,000 కాదు 8,000
it can waste most of the time. So when your complex work can be broken into small parts, so you can do it in a very much better way, and it becomes very easier, and your time will be saved. So for example, when I'm preparing for a PowerPoint presentation, so if I'm supposed to prepare a time management, when considering it is only time management, may looks little bit complex. So what I can break this job into, like let me read about time management. Let me take some pictures. Let me put slides. So I am breaking this one task into multiple parts, and I'm doing one by one. So it makes very easier, and you can also save much of the time, and then the productivity of broken parts will also be good. Next is Swiss cheese method. That is, the cheese. Whenever this rat sees these kind of cheese, just goes and gulps one part and just goes away. So the same way, so we will have, there are hours or minutes in our life. We will have some free time. Free in the sense, for example, if your wife is going and purchasing for something, if your wife is you're taking some clothes in a shop, you're just sitting in a table or something. You're sitting and you're just being free at that time. So that time you can utilize for yourself. Whatever the thing, you can set a mind like just I have 10 minutes. I'll just do whatever thing I can do. So just gulping whatever you can do at that time. So these small gulps can finally make your work completely done. So how the rat goes and gulps one little cheese, finally the whole cheese is gone. So the same way, you can also poke holes and make the cheese completely done, so that you actually invest more. You don't invest more energy actually when you're working for 10 minutes. So, but you finish your task as you desire. So this is one important time management trick. This will be very helpful, and it has very great impact, I believe. So this is one thing. So it is called as Eisenhower Grid actually. So it is you can take a paper and divide it and make a grid like this. You can divide it into 4 columns and make a grid like this. If you notice here, you can see that in the top there is, you have to write urgent, and the next column you have to write not very urgent.
Yeah.
Side, you can see that in the first column, you have to write it as important, and the next, you have to write it as not very important. So, if you notice the first box, that is, those are the works that is important and urgent. That is, you have to do these works very, it is very important to you, and it is also demanding, it needs urgent. So you have to do at the moment. So these tasks has to be written there. And second is, it is not very urgent, but it is important. So what you can do is, you can postpone these tasks. This is the most productive category for using the time. It tries to manage your important tasks so they do not become equally urgent actually. So you can postpone afterwards, and you can just do it. And next is delegate, that is giving a work to someone else. So you can see that it is not very important and urgent. So it is not very important for you, but it is demanding. So there are few works in your office or in your project. You can just give it to someone. You can give it to subordinates. So those works can be given. So that is the best decision you can make, is to delegate works. So that can also be done on time. So last one, it is eliminate. That is not very important and not very urgent. So you can just avoid these kind of works. It is not at all important. It is not going to do anything with your works. So why don't you avoid this? So you can just eliminate this category of columns. So you can just try practicing this every day in your routine life. So you have to keep on creating a grid, and you can put your list on in these boxes so that it becomes easier, and you can get an awareness that which are the important is very urgent and important, and which is not urgent, and which are the things you can postpone or eliminate. So next is procrastination. So procrastination, it means that we are keeping on delaying the task. We are just saying that I'll do it later, I'll do it on the next day, not on the next week. So that is procrastination. It is considered as a cycle. So whenever you want to do a task, you're first procrastinating. So once you procrastinate, you feel guilty. Oh, I didn't do it. I'm feeling very bad. I should have done that. So you're feeling very much guilty about it. Once you're feeling guilty, the next thing what happens is you're feeling very panic. So once you panic, so you're feeling very anxious, you're feeling very restless, and you're again making excuses. So I'm not in a clear mind. I'm feeling very panic. So I cannot do that. So again, the cycle goes on. It is like vicious cycle. It will just keep on going. So this is procrastination cycle. So how to stop procrastination? So there are 4 things that can be done to stop procrastination. So one is to manage the short-term crises and problems. That is, you should learn to manage the short-term thing that comes, whatever the problems that comes in you, you have to manage that, and you can try to solve it at the moment itself. Next is focus on the long-term strategic goals. There will be many goals which is not very urgent, but it may be important. You can focus on that, but it is not very urgent. So you can keep an eye on those goals. Next is you can avoid distractions and interruptions. So like what I said, like any of the mobile phone calls or any other unwanted visits. So all those you should plan to avoid. And fourth is, you have to limit the time wasting activity. You should identify which are your time wasting activities. Like if you're spending too much on Google, you're spending too much on mobile phones, you're spending too much on chatting. So these are the things you can avoid. So when you manage these 4 things, you can very easily stop the procrastination. So next is delegation. So delegation, as I said earlier, you are just giving your works to some other person. So one thing you should understand in yourself is, it is not only us can do everything. That is, we cannot be completely perfect. No human is completely perfect. Everybody is imperfect, and we should try to accept that. So there is no wrong in completely in giving task to somebody else. So it is actually a very intelligent decision to give your task to somebody else when it is needed. So which task can be given, which cannot be given, that should be decided by yourself. That is the good decision you make. So you have to assign appropriate person to do the particular task. In this way, when you are delegating to someone else, you will save much of your time. Next is setting a ritual. So ritual, which means that it is a kind of routine that keeps on coming into your life. So, and it will become very spontaneous in your life. You don't want to put much of energy into that. And you will also automatically, when it becomes a ritual, you'll automatically like it, and you'll feel very happy while you're doing it. So for example, if you want to wake up daily by 6 o'clock and you want to go for a walk. So when you make it as a ritual, you make it as your habit, it becomes very easier for you to wake up by 6 o'clock. It becomes very enjoyable for you. So because these routine tasks, it is already planned. It is more of like it is already set in your body, or it is set in your mind. So it is very easy. So you put so much of, you are not being forced upon. When it becomes a ritual, you are putting it spontaneously. So these you will put so much of energy into it, and it is also very easy to achieve your goal, because it will become very closer, because you are doing it with all your heart and your mind. So it is said that discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. So next thing is, you can use these kind of time blocks. Many a times we do lot of things in a day. We wake up. We used to take care of our children. We used to take care of our personal routines. We used to spend some time in newspapers. We used to spend time in mobile phones. We spend time with our friends. We do our academic activities. We do our professional works. So we keep on doing many things in a day. So once only you monitor yourself, you will know what you are doing, at what time you are doing. So whether when you keep a log like this at at 9 a.m. I have done this, 9:30 or like 10 o'clock I have done this. You can, it is up to you to keep a log. You can keep a 1 hour log, or you can keep a 2 hour log. So it is up to you to decide how many hours of space it requires actually. So once you try to introspect yourself, how you're taking care of your time, you will understand how much time you're wasting, how much time it is being saved, how much time it is very fruitful. So only you understand this, you will be able to plan accordingly. So if you find that there is something which is wasted very unwantedly, you can also consider alternatives. What can be done to prevent this wastage? What are any other steps that can be taken? So this is one method that will be very helpful when you start monitoring your daily activities. So nowadays, as it is becoming very digitalized, we are also having digital apps to monitor your own daily activities. So this is one example. This is just an example. There are many applications available.
Ma'am, you are not audible. Ajitra, ma'am. Nisha, can you hear her sound? Nisha, Ragul?
So her voice is not audible. Please contact me.
Yes, sir, just a minute.
Participants, please stay here. Within this few seconds, we will connect.
A small announcement to all. My voice is audible? Ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Is
Your
my
voice is audible.
Yeah, small announcement. Good evening to all. As a part of our Atal FDP, there will be a multiple choice question test on tomorrow at 9 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. during the interactive session. The test question contains 15 questions with 4 multiple choice. Each carries 1 marks. 80% of scoring marks is the minimum eligibility of getting Atal e-certificate. All the materials for the last 1 week session includes PPT, related documents, etc. will be shared soon via Google
Ma'am
Drive
joined.
link.
Not yet, ma'am.
Not at all. And the test link will be active up to 14/8/2022 at 10 p.m. Thank you.
So, can you hear me?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I think I'm done with the first session. Any questions or any doubts, you can just ask.
Ma'am, we are having interaction session between 9 to 9:30.
Okay, okay, fine.
In that session, we will
Yeah.
interact.
Okay, fine.
We'll have
So-
10 minutes break, ma'am, before that. 7:50 to 8.
Okay, okay, ma'am, okay.
Now you can continue, ma'am.
I can continue?
Yes. Share your
Oh, okay.
screen.
Okay, okay, fine. So shall I continue the next session?
This session completed?
Yes, yes, it's completed. That is what. Did you miss anything? That is the last slide
No,
which
ma'am.
I have.
The last 2 slides we can't see and hear.
Okay, shall I put it again?
Yeah, ma'am.
So this is the last 2 slides actually. So what I told was there are some digital apps available. So to track your time, that is to track what you're doing with your mobile phones. So how much time you're spending on your projects, how much time you're spending on your entertainment use. So any applications you use, it can also track. It can actually track your times. It can also track the events in your calendar. So this is one example of the app. There are many digital apps available to track your time. So that can be used. So this is the last slide. So this one, so I have put as, that is the bad news is time flies. The good news is you are the pilot. So that is what I mean to say is, that is the 24-hour day in a day is a 24 hours. It is actually the same. It is standing as the same in our days. But it is only we keep on telling we don't have time. We are chasing time and we are running out of time. It is only in the view we see, and it is only we who are driving this cycle has come out and plan ourselves. So it is not about 24-day can be extended. That is, it cannot make it as 48 hours or something like that. So it will be the same throughout our life, throughout the day. It is going to be the same. So these small steps which I shared with you can be incorporated in your daily life. This can have very good impact on your life. When you implement the small steps, you will become very clear. You will have very clarity in making use of time in a proper way and scheduling yourself. You plan for yourself. So it is your vehicle. It is you are the pilot, and let you drive the time before the time drives you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Let us have a 10 minutes break and continue the next session by 8 o'clock.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Participants, please take.
Yeah. Meanwhile, if you have any queries, please post your queries in a chat box. Okay. Kindly enable, organizing team, kindly enable the chat box so that this 10 minutes time, if anybody is having any queries, kindly ask them to put in a chat box so that interaction will be smooth. Thank you.
Participants, please don't log out your account. So please stay here in the break, and then we will continue the session sharply in 8 o'clock. Thank you.
Nisha, shall we start the session? Ma'am, are you there?
Yeah.
We can start the session, madam. Second
Okay.
session.
Okay. So coming back to the second session, that is stress management. So I think this is very important to know because everybody is in one or other way. You'll be encountering stress in your day-to-day activities. Okay. So to understand how to manage stress, you should know little concepts about what is stress and how it is causing stress. There are few little concepts you should know. So this stress is actually, it is developed by, the concept is developed by Hans Sale. So it is being in a state of either mental or emotional strain, which is demanding from any adverse or demanding circumstances. So we have a capability, our body has a capability and our brain has a capability. So when there is beyond your limits, when it is beyond your capability, when there is something outside, it is demanding you so much, you feel very stressed. There will be so much of tension in your body, where there will be tension in your brain. So that is what stress is called. So stress is actually a body's normal reaction in accordance with our environmental demands. And do you think stress is avoidable? Definitely not. Stress is unavoidable. It is the one thing that we can do is one can only learn to minimize its negative effects. So we cannot judge what will happen tomorrow. What are the stresses that is going to come tomorrow? So one big example is COVID. We are not even aware that when this COVID is going to occur, this COVID is going to create this lockdown. This COVID is going to create lot of financial crisis. So we are not able to aware. We are not aware of predicting anything. So stress cannot be avoided. But one thing that can done is we can minimize the effects that is causing to us. So stress, it can occur with any event in our life. So it doesn't necessarily, it needs to be a negative event. It can occur with positive event also. So, so it can be death of a loved one. Even a birth of child is a stress for parents. Job promotion, new relationship, starting a school or college is a stress. Taking exams is stress. Anything that is new to us will become a stress. For example, when a child is born, there are a lot of stress for the mother. So the mother will think that she may need to take care of the child in extra. So she may have to adapt many new events in her life. She may change many of her life changes she has to make to take care of the child. So when you're getting promoted, so your demands will be high. Your administrative skills are getting increased. So when you're getting married, so you are definitely having new responsibilities. So before marriage, you might be only the daughter or son to your family. Now you're also you will have mother-in-law, you have father-in-law, you have your husband, you have children. So anything that is new, even that is a positive thing, it can be stressful in your life. So what are the stressors? So stressors, it is actually events which people identify as endangering. It can be either in psychological or physical capacity. So that is when I couldn't do 10 more than 10 walks in a day. Might be when the 11th walk comes, I may perceive it as very endangering for me because I don't have any time to do that. I'm not capable of doing it. So I may perceive when 11th walk comes in my day, it is a stressor for me. So these stressors can vary in intensity and length of the time. There are two types of stressor we can classify. That is, one is acute stress and another one is chronic stress. So acute stress, which means it is happening suddenly, out of the blue it is happening. That is, for example, there is a sudden loss of loved one, it is an acute stress. So chronic stress, it is constant. So whatever we go through is actually called chronic stress. So most of the times we are in a situation to take care of everything. We are in situation to take care of a family. We are in situation to take care of children. We are in situation to go to professional work. So we are keeping ourselves in stress. It is actually demanding. So you keep on moving. You keep on pushing yourself to make your each day. So when there is some constant pressure that is present always, it is called as chronic stress. So what are the triggers of stress and anxiety? So there can be external triggers. External triggers, in the sense, it means that it is from the environment, from the life situations it is causing. And there can also be internal stress. Internal stress, that is, it is only within you. It is happening within your mind, how you are viewing the world, how your mind is conditioned. So that is internal stress. So this external stress can trigger the internal stress and can further exaggerate the stress. So external stress can include any major life changes or any work difficulties, relationship difficulties, financial problems, being too busy, and taking care of children and family. These all things can be an external stress. So what is the internal stress, which is conditioned in our mind, is inability to accept the uncertainty. So suppose your child is not scoring good marks in 10th standard, you may feel that what will happen, whether she'll take up the engineering course, whether she'll take up the doctor course. So you're not sure enough to accept the uncertainty. So which will create a lot of stress. Next is pessimism. So thinking everything in negatives. So whenever there is some stress that is coming, so you think, so I'm going to fail, I'm not worthy, I'm fed up. So these kind of things are pessimism. So negative self-talk. So it can include within you, and it can also include when somebody talks to you, somebody criticizes you, take it in very negative aspects. So these are the negative self-talk. And unrealistic expectations and perfectionism. So there are people who expect more. So expect more than their current status or current financial status or current job status. So when we have some unrealistic expectation which is not in touch with reality, we may feel definitely we'll have disappointments, which can create very much stress. And there are few people will be very perfect. So they want everything in perfect. They want to be at right time. They want to get always appreciation from others. They want to accomplish tasks at the right time. So when they consider themselves as very much perfectionist, they have a lot of stress, because when they are not able to finish it on time, or when they are not able to accomplish it in time, so they will have a lot of stress. So these two types of stress can increase the anxiety, can increase your stress symptoms. So, for example, when you're going to a college, what are the changes that can occur? So, if a person is new, it will be a very new environment for the student, and making a new friends is also a stress. Then there will be academic times, and there is unstructured time will be there. There will be financial problems, and the student has to stay away from the parents. This is one example. So when there is some event that is occurring, there is definitely a stress. We should definitely make some changes to accept the stress and manage the stress effectively. So what is the body's response to the stressor? So what happens in your body when you're experiencing a stress? So there are three stages that is happening. So first one is alarm stage, second one is resistance stage, and third one is fatigue. So alarm, that is your mind and body go on a high alert. That is fight or flight response, which means that either you fight for the situation or you will try to escape. That is flight. You will try to escape from the situation. So this response prepare you to either to you are going to defend for yourself or you are going to get away from the threat. So that is the first situation. So whenever a stress comes, you are going to try to fight for it, or either you are going to escape, try some ways to escape from it. So next is resistance. So when the stress is getting continued, so your body gets adapts and reacts to the stressor. But this is very brief period. So it will be resistant, so it can handle stress for some time. So next stage is fatigue. So what happens is the stress is getting continued again. It is prolonged. It is not even stopping. So it is completely prolonged. So what happens is you get fed up, you become tired. So you have difficulties in manage stress. So this is how your body responds to different stages of stress. So there is something called Yerkes-Dodson's law. So many a times always we say, whenever we say the word, we only think in negative aspects. Stress is always negative, but it doesn't actually mean so. There is also something called as good stress. That is what this law says is, there is little amount of stress is needed in our day-to-day life activities to have good outcomes in your life. So when the stress is very excessive, it is impairing all your activity and you're getting so much of anxiety. So if you look at this graph, so you can see in the downside, that is stress, that is low, medium and high. And if you see in the upstraight, it is performance is measured. So if you can see the graph, that is the starting of the curve, the stress is very low. When the stress is low, so you don't have any demands, right? When the stress is low, so you will just feel very tired, not tired actually, you will feel very lazy. So you don't have anything to accomplish, you don't have anything to do. So there is no stress. So you automatically go and sleep, you just be very leisure. So as stress is increasing, so there will be alertness, and there is an optimal stress. That is, this optimal stress is needed for any work to have productivity. But when this stress is very high, when it is switching to the high direction, it will create so much of anxiety, and it will so much of disorganization it will create. So which can be very unproductive. So it is always recommended to have little bit of stress, and you can accept the little bit of stress to have good performance in your day-to-day activities. But when it is very severe, so much of stress, when you start to accept, it becomes very difficult to handle. So there are two types of stress, as I said. That is, one is called as eustress and another is called as distress. So this eustress is actually a stress that is healthy. That is, it is going to give joy. It is going to give a sense of fulfillment. Whereas this distress is going to give so much of pain, anxiety, mental suffering and physical suffering. So this eustress, for example, you are supposed to do this project, the two projects in certain amount of time. And if you are doing this project in this time, you may be rewarded as a promotion. You may get a promotion. That is called as eustress. So you are having some reward. So you are definitely having a promotion in the end. So you can accept that stress and you can take it and you can work it on it. So that is eustress. But distress, it is very unwanted. You perceive it is not necessary. So then it becomes a distress. So let us see how this stress can be managed. So there are a few coping skills that can be shared here. So you can understand that and you can apply in your day-to-day life and make changes in your life to manage this stress. So when there are only 4 ways to manage it. Whenever there is a stress that comes, you can manage in 4 ways. So those 4 ways, either you can accept the stressor, or change the stressor, or avoid the stressor, or change your thinking about the stressor. So we'll see one by one about this. So stressors you may need to accept. So in life, there will be some stressors, that is, you cannot change that stressor. So you have no option, but you have to gradually start accepting it. So when you start accepting your whatever that comes in your life, you start to live your life in a very well. So for example, it is a death of someone. So it will be very hard to accept initially, but if you start to learn very gradually, because if somebody you lost, it is definitely it is lost. You cannot have them afterwards. So that is the reality. So there is no point in worrying about it so much and keeping on dwelling on that stressor. So you must gradually start to accept that this person is no more alive. This person I have lost it. So I have to learn through it. So, and you can have some support system like families, friends, and you can grieve whatever that comes to your mind. So usually it takes around, whenever you lose a person, it takes around 6 months to get recovered. So you can gradually accept that instead of thinking, I want to change the situation. It is very difficult to change some of the stressors. So all those stressors should be accepted. So while accepting, it is always, whenever we feel stress, most of the people think that it is better to ignore because it is very painful. It is very disgusting. It is making so much anxious. So every time you have a stressor, you try to, I don't want it. I am feeling very much exhausted. I don't want the stress. This is what the mind thinks. But actually, whenever you are aware of this distress, when you appreciate the distress, you appreciate how you feel, you will be able to come out of the stress very easily. So notice your distress. So how you are feeling, how are your emotions. If you're feeling to cry, notice your crying spells. You notice how you're feeling anxious, how your hands are shaking, how your heart is pounding. You have to notice everything and determine what distresses you and how you react. So example, the role you take with yourself and how you are behaving with others because of the stress, that you have to notice on yourself. And you also have to notice when you are feeling stressed, how your body is responding, whether you are feeling very tired, whether you are feeling very anxious, whether you are feeling very irritable. All things should be noted. So do it become very nervous or very physically upset? That is whether you are getting very sick very frequently. So you have to pay attention to all these distress signals to come out of this stress instead of avoiding it. So next thing is stressors you may need to avoid. So as I said in the previous session, saying no is important in your life. So many a times we keep on working for ourselves. We also keep on working to every people we know. So we should know for what are the things we can say no. So saying no means you know your limits. So you have a limit. You are just a human being like any other human being. You can work only for your things and only your space. So saying yes to everything, it will keep on increasing your burden and it can increase your limits. So it will be very difficult to handle it all the things. So for example, as I said previously, there are things you can say no. When you have an important task to do and somebody asks for a favor, you can very genuinely say them and no. You can just explain them you have a task. So and there is no wrong in doing that. There is no need of feeling guilty about it. So the more you learn to say no, the more you will have so much of peace about yourself. So third one is stressors you need to change. So there are some stressors you have to change. So maybe you have to change the way of living. Maybe you have to change the stressor itself. So for example, whenever you feel that being obese, your overweight is my stressor. So you have to change your lifestyle. Like you have to exercise regularly. You have to eat properly. You have to be cautious while eating. You have to avoid the junk foods. So you have to avoid all these things. Only then being stress of being overweight can be reduced. So there are few things that request change that should be changed. So change how you think about a stressor. So many a times, for example, if you look at our social situation, so one example is you can see that there are many farmers who suffer with poverty. So, but there will be lakhs and lakhs of farmers in India. But you can suddenly see in newspapers or media that is like some 10 farmers has committed suicide. So every lakhs and lakhs of farmers are suffering with the same situation of poverty. But why should only the 10 people commit suicide? So that is how they look at their life. So the stress is same for everyone. It is how we look at it, how we perceive it is important. So when you change the thinking, whenever you see a stress, whenever you perceive a stress, it is the way you think can reduce your stress. So for example, if you see this glass of water, so you can also say that the glass is full of water, and you can also say that the glass is half empty. So it is the way, it is the perception you see, how you look at an object, how you look at an event, how you look at an circumstances. That is more important. The same way you can also look at the stressor in a positive way. Suppose I'm keeping on given so much of works in my hospital. So someday I'm getting a good success because of that. So I can just think that instead of saying I'm so much given so much of work, instead of that I can think that because of all these work, I have been given the success. So that is how you can change your views of thinking. Always try to have a positive look in your life. So if a stressor is a big problem, try to look it and break it into small parts. And so, for example, I cannot learn engineering. It is too hard because there are a lot of terms are available. New terms are available. So when you look at it as a whole, you will feel very stressed because it looks complex, because it looks like a very big task. But you can change your thinking. Like, I do not have to learn engineering one day. I have some 3 years of education, so I can learn 5 terms per day. So tomorrow I will learn 5 terms per day. So it becomes very easier. So when you break into small parts, the stress will look very small, so that you can break the stress completely. So next is, so to change your thinking about the stress, you should also should reduce your emotional reaction to the stress. So to reduce the emotional reactions to the stress, you have to question yourselves. So when the stress reaction is usually the perception of our danger. So we are perceiving it, that is a danger to me. That is why we are reacting. We are having many emotional reactions. So first ask yourself, do you overestimate the stressor? So am I estimating in the right way, whether the stress level is this much or I am overestimating it? So ask yourself whether I am overreacting, whether or I'm viewing everything in an absolute critical way. So you have to ask these questions to yourself, then you will understand where you are. So then you can stop and think before reacting. You can just take some time and then you can react. You can try to have everything in a view that is within your circle. Don't have an extreme view. Don't temper your emotional responses. Always try to put the situation in that perspective. So in that perspective, the situation must have been in this way. So let me accept in that way. So don't dwell on the negative aspects of your life. So this all can reduce the emotional reactions to the stress. So how, when you're stressed, you'll have a lot of physical symptoms. So how you can reduce those physical reactions to stress? So you can slow down your breathing. You can have a deep breathing of yourself. You can take a very deep breath. So it will reduce your heart rate. It will reduce your respiration. So you can use some relaxation techniques like yoga or any meditation or aerobic exercise. So when you are using this relaxation techniques, it can reduce your muscle tension. It can increase your energy. It can reduce your sleep disturbances. It can improve your tiredness. So, and it can also improve when you're feeling very much stressed. You will have impairment in memory and concentration. So when you're doing all these relaxation techniques regularly, you can improve your memory and concentration. You can reduce. So many times when you're feeling stressed, you will have vague pains in your body. You may have pains like backache. You may have pain like abdominal pain. You'll have neck pain. So all these are due to the muscle tension that is creating in your body. So all these can be prevented when you're engaging yourself in relaxation technique. So you can prevent your stress from becoming very much cumulative, and it can increase your self-confidence, and you can also decrease your self-blame. So there are some emotional reserves that can protect us from the stress. So what you can do is you can have good supportive friendship. So when you're feeling very bad, you can go and ventilate to your friends who are very supportive, and you can have any good relationships. So you can go and ventilate with your relatives or when some trustworthy person. So many times people keep on working for some other's goals. So set your goal for yourself. So when it becomes a stresses, you're working for some other's goals. So you have to define your goals. You're not, even when you're working for someone, so you're not working it wholeheartedly. So you are just giving up for somebody else. So try to pursue only your goals, so it can reduce your stress. And so whenever you do some work, always expect some frustrations, expect some failures, accept some sorrows, because our life can only be balanced. It cannot have only happiness. It cannot only have sadness. It is just a balance of happiness and sadness. So we cannot always stay in a comfort zone. So if you are having always a comfort zone expectation, so automatically you will have disappointments. When this disappointments are reduced, so you are not going to get stressed. So expect some frustrations and failures always in your works, and try the relaxation techniques. And also spiritual role also has some role in maintaining your emotional reserves. So many a times you will be in a toxic relationship, or you will be in toxic work atmosphere. So you might not find a good friend to ventilate. You might not have good relationship relation person to ventilate. So when you have something, you can share anything to a spiritual thing. So there is no way it is going to harm you or the others. So every time you engage yourself in spiritually, you can maintain your emotional reserve very well. And always have an alternative plan. So many a times people have only one single plan, stick on to that plan. So very adamant about that plan. So it will have difficulties. So when something doesn't work or fall in our way, we should keep an alternative plan so that it works well. So how to maintain our physical reserve? So when our physical health is good, you can handle the stress very well. So you can exercise 3 to 4 times a week. That is per day you can exercise for 30 minutes. 20 to 30 minutes is more than enough. So you can go for a walking or aerobic exercise or gym, whatever it is, which fits for you. And you have to eat well balanced nutritional foods. That is, it should include carbohydrates, it should include proteins, and it should include fats. So it should be in balance. So not only eating completely the fast foods, completely non-veg things, it is not balanced. You have to include vegetables, you have to include fruits, you have to include rice, you have to include everything. You have to have some juices. So everything, when you have it in a day, it is a well-balanced diet. And you have to maintain your ideal weight. So when the weight is getting excess, you may have some issues. You can get diabetes, you can get hypertension. That can also put you on stress. So next is, many a times we have thinking that whenever we feel stressed, let me go and smoke a cigarette. Let me have a cup of coffee so that I feel relaxed. Let me have alcohol so that I don't feel the stress, so I can sleep very peacefully. So this is not actually correct, because these all things can increase your stress. It is only the temporary things that it can actually, when you have a cup of coffee, you may feel like you're feeling relaxed, but it becomes addicted to you, and it can create a lot of changes in your brain, and you will have many anxiety symptoms later. So, and while working, learn to take breaks. Like if you're having at a sketch of work for 1 hour, you can take a break for 10 minutes, so that you can go and talk with your workmates. You can have a cup, some tea or coffee break, a small coffee break. And you should also have enough sleep. 6 to 8 hours of sleep is necessary to keep yourself regenerated for the next day. So what are the relaxation things that is available to get relieved of stress? That is, one is abdominal breathing. That is, you have to inhale air with the nose and let the air out with your mouth. So during this breathing, your abdomen will be going up and down. So abdominal breathing will be helpful in relaxing yourself. And there are some exercises like progressive muscular relaxation, which will help you to relax your muscles. And you can also visualize peaceful scenes, like whenever you're feeling stressed, you can think that you're being in some greenery area, some beach, whatever you like. You're just flying around all around the world. You're just feeling very you're under a waterfall. Something you can visualize, whichever you like the most. So it can create you a sense of relaxation. And you can also think about your past victories. So what you have achieved. So it will give you some kind of rush in your brain, which you will enjoy definitely. So you will think like, I have succeeded this much of things, so I can do all these things. So these things can relax you. And positive self-talk. So whenever you feel stressed, you can go and stand in front of the mirror. You can just motivate yourself. You can just keep on saying, I can do it. I will definitely handle it. I will definitely go through this. So all these things can help you. And there are also audio and visual aids. If you just go and search in YouTube, there are many relaxation musics are coming on. So you can just put that and you can have a very nice sleep. So, and you can also meditate every day. Like some 5 to 10 minutes, you can meditate every day. So all these things will give you relaxation. So as I said, meditation, walking, reading a book, or hearing some music can relax you. And whenever you see nature, or you are having some massage, or when you're doing a deep breathing, that is abdominal breathing, your parasympathetic system gets actually activated. That is, it is a type of nervous system in our body which is necessary to relax. When the parasympathetic nervous system is working properly, you will have good amount of relaxation. So all these things can increase your parasympathetic nervous system. And you can also do exercises, which is like you can do yoga, you can aerobic exercises, you can go for a swimming. All these can relax. And there are something called subconscious symbols of wellness. That is why when you're seeing a blue sky, you feel very calm and you're feeling very much relaxed. Somebody who plays with the pets feel very relaxed. So you can just use these subconscious symbols of wellness, like water, gardens, green areas, blue skies. So all these can relax you. So there are some good ways and bad ways to relax. So many a times we don't understand what are while relaxing. It is always better to choose the good ways to relax. These are the some good ways. That is, one is, as I said, exercises. Next is whatever I said, like relaxation techniques like breathing, listening to music, and having a good sleep in the night. So whenever you are feeling stressed, you can just shut down everything and you can just go and just sleep for some time. And to concentrate only on positive thoughts, you can also just stick some positive quotes in your room, so which will keep on showing you positive energies. And you should always be flexible to learn new things. So whenever you are feeling stressed upon, so you are facing some failure, you're not necessarily have to stop there. You just be flexible. It's all okay. Let me learn from this and I'll try to achieve whatever things I can. So and you should always have a hobby. So hobbies are most important thing actually. So it will actually take you to your childhood. It will actually regenerate you. So whatever the hobby it is, it can be very silly. It can be very simple thing. So if you see, there are few people in the childhood, somebody collects coins. So if you're feeling interested to do that, you just do it. There is nothing very ashamed to do that, or feeling silly of that. Whatever it is, whatever things you liked in the childhood, you can just have it as a hobby. So that will keep on promoting you. And you can also prioritize your time, and you should know your limitations and always keep simplifying yourself. You have to plan for yourself. You have to decide for yourself, and you should know when to say no. And you can reduce your stress if you think. And as I said, focus on one task at a time and have a good family system. Whenever you're feeling stressed, you can go out with family and or friends. And one important thing is, do not compare your life with others, because everybody's suffering is different, everybody's life is different, everybody is having different issues. So when you keep on comparing yourself with others, you keep on stressing yourself. So next is bad ways to cope. These are the things should be definitely avoided to cope up with stress, because it can be temporarily relieving your stress, but it is not going to give you a permanent solution. So somebody feels to eat much when they are feeling stressed. So when they eat much, they feel relieved of stress. And smoking, gambling, that is playing games, and spending too much of money. And you can see somebody who, whenever they feel stressed, they go and shop something. They go and purchase new dresses. They go and purchase whatever they like. So that is also a bad way to cope up with stress. And drinking alcohol, using any drug, watching too much of TV, putting of things. So I'm stressed, I can't do anything. So just procrastinating will also increase your stress. And staying away from stress. There are few people like they feel like it is always better when I'm feeling stressed. It is better to stay from away from others. It is not actually. It don't actually help much. There are few people like whose quality is being introvert. It can help them, but not for everyone. And sleeping too much is also a bad way to cope up with the stress. And playing video games excessively, or putting blame on others. So when you are feeling stressed, you put a blame on others. Like you may scold your family member, you may scold your children, you may scold your boss. So these are the bad ways to cope with stress. This can give a temporary solution, temporary happiness, but it is not going to give a permanent happiness. So how can you change your thinking? So that is, for example, I'm not liking this college. That you're feeling very much stressed, so you're just saying that I'm not liking this college. So that is the negative self-talk. So how can you change the thought? So there may be some advantage for me. Let me look into it. So that is how you view the situation. So I miss my parents, I miss my friends. So you can change the situation, and you can say to yourself, it's okay, I'll make new friends. I'm afraid of ragging. Let me be bold. I'll face it. Today it may be fearful, but after some time it will become an unforgettable memory. So these are small examples how our cognition and how our thinking can be changed. So then this is one important thing, that is ventilation. So when you share something, whatever that you have in your mind or heart, most of the problems get solved. Many times I see, like when you listen to someone's problem, they're completely getting recovered. So the problem is, when there is a stress, you keep on accumulating in yourself. You keep on keeping it in, you keep on burdening yourself. So when you keep it and you're piling it up, one day the pile will be very big. So it will be distressing you so much. So when you have a good friend, or you can also find some good person to ventilate. So when you ventilate the old problem, your problems will be halved and you can easily recover from that. So always have a good supportive networks through friends or colleagues to talk with them. So next is take adequate breaks. So many times people will be working like 8 hours, 12 hours. You keep on working, you keep on concentrating on your professional task. You don't take adequate break. You keep on running for someone else in your family. So you may think that I want to take care of my child. Taking care of my child, it means that I have to run throughout my life. I cannot take break. So actually it doesn't mean to be the right thing, because taking care of your child doesn't mean you have to run completely continuously and exhaust yourself and have all kind of complications, that is any physical complications or mental complications, and feeling very much stress, you will have impaired decision making also. So it is always, you have to take a break. So adequate break is necessary. You can take a week off. You can take a break in a day. You can go and sit and relax yourself for 30 minutes in a day. So there is virtue in bath and there is virtue in rest. Use both and overlook neither. So you don't overlook anything. That is, you have to take a break, and only then your brain is going to function properly, and you will be regenerated. You will have the same energy level to work again. And when you need professional help, so stress is actually normal. It cannot be prevented. We should only learn to accept how we can handle the stress. But there are some situations where there will be chronic stress, which cannot be avoidable, which cannot be changed, which cannot be done anything. So those kind of, when there is some kind of stress, when things are out of control, when distress is very severe, when stress is intruding your life, when stress is intruding your life, you can go and get a psychiatrist help or psychologist help. So when it is exceeding your limit and you're not even able to cope up, when you're not able to change the stress, or when you're not able to change the situation, maybe you may be benefited by having a psychologist or psychiatrist help. So ending this session, so it is not the stress that actually kills us, it is our reaction to it. So that is how we perceive the things is more important than the stress itself. When we perceive it as the stress is very small, it will definitely appear small for us. When we perceive the stress is very big, so we have lot of emotional reactions for it, and we keep on dwelling on it. So always look onto the positive aspects of life, and look on the confidence you have. So look on the achievements, whatever you have in your life. In that way, you can definitely kill the stress, and don't allow the stress to kill you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, now shall we go for the break for the 10 minutes and then we will proceed for the interactive session?
Okay.
Participants, please stay connected. Sharply after 10 minutes, we will go for the interactive session. Thank you.
Ma'am, let us have the interaction session.
Yeah.
Yeah. Participants, if you are having any doubts, please interact with Madam. Participants, we can interact with Madam. Give access to participants. Give mic access to participants. No sound from that.
Ma'am, 1 second, wait. I will discuss with Kaushal sir and I will tell to you.
Ma'am, sorry, just a minute.
Okay.
Good evening, Dr. Myself, Dr. Prem Kumar.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, yeah. Sir, you can go
As I
ahead.
chart the same. Yeah, the same questions I'll ask you. So today we got more points, time management as well as the stress management. Can you, give some nutshell about 5 points how we need to do for, time management as well as stress management?
Yeah, sure. So regarding time management, the first thing we have to understand is there is always a time. So we keep on saying that there is no time, there is no time. So it is only in the view that is we are holding it actually. So first accept that there is always a time. So there is much thing that can be done. That is the first thing. So next thing is you can always have a plan for yourself. So plan in the sense you can make a list. Every time it is better to write. So when you're writing it on a paper, you have a clear view of everything. So that is the second thing. So writing in paper and making a to-do list can have a clear plan, and you can do it in a very and save much of time. Second thing. So third thing, it is procrastination. So don't procrastinate. So many a times we keep on procrastinating. So that procrastination is can lead to much of difficulties in your making decisions and doing things on time. Third thing. And fourth thing, you can just keep on monitoring your own daily things. So how much time you have wasted, how much time you have used very well. So that can increase your productivity. And fifth time, then what I have displayed, that is Eisenhower matrix, that is which is urgent, which is not urgent, which is important, and which is not important. So I think you can follow it on your daily basis. It is really having good impact. When you are making a grid every day and trying to follow it every day, you can understand what are the things you need to do now and which can be postponed, which can be given to others, and which can be eliminated. So these are the 5 things about time management in nutshell. So coming to stress, the same thing. The stress is unavoidable. Stress can occur at any time in our life. So it can be either positive or negative. We will have definitely stress. So one thing second thing you have to understand is there is little amount of stress is important to have good performance in our life. So accept that little amount of stress in your life. So that is the second thing. So third thing, you can manage either by accepting the stressor or changing the stressor or adapting to the situation or changing your view of thinking. So these are the 4 things that can be done to have some stress management in your life. Next, 4th thing, it is always better to have some relaxation techniques in your life. So it doesn't take much time. You can make it as a ritual in your life. So how you wake up daily, you have bath, you have a food. So the same way, if you allocate some time for relaxation in your daily life, it will be more better. So it will increase your relaxation. And 5th thing, so when you actually need for help, it is definitely asking for a help. That is when you're feeling very stressed, sharing to friend is a good decision. Ventilating your feelings, and when you are in very much distress, always go for a psychological or psychiatrist help. So these are the, in nutshell, we can say time management and stress management. Is that okay?
Yeah, ma'am. One small announcement. Participants, if you have any queries, means please raise your hands. We will unmute your mic. Please raise your hands if you have any queries, means. Ma'am, I have one query. Shall I ask?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Ma'am, if one person is with us, that if you feel that person, we have some stress with them, but what we are feeling is we can't hurt them. Please take a distance from me, or we are straightly, I want to take the distance from them. That like, but I need some relaxation. But they are always with us. How to make them understand, or how we will take some decisions?
Okay. So there are some kind of stressors which cannot avoid. That is what I told in the session. There is something which we cannot change the situations. So they will be keeping on being with us. There cannot be done anything. We cannot get away from them. Those are the situations we cannot change anything. But what you can change is how your emotions are reacting to the whatever the person is telling, whatever the person is showing. So if you're feeling uncomfortable with the relationship or with the person, so whatever it is very uncomfortable for you, you can feel it by yourself. So you can identify which is uncomfortable for you. So what are the situations, what are the emotions it is creating, whether you are feeling anxious, whether you are feeling sad about it, or whether you are feeling irritable about it. So what you can try to do is not change the situation, but you can try to minimize your emotions. So you have to keep on learning by yourself that because of all these triggers, I'm reacting. So is there anything worth in reacting all these kind of things? So when you stop reacting to those situations, automatically the situation can also feel that there is no worth in showing these kind of emotions to these people. So automatically the situations can also have some change. So when the situation cannot be changed, the change should be within you. How you perceive that, only you feel that it is very sad, it is going to be sad. So if you are going to feeling it anxious, it is going to be anxious. If not, it is not going to be. So that are the few things that can be done. And I understand there are few toxicities. You cannot even move away from that. So there are, you can create your own situations. The relaxation doesn't mean like you have to move out of this phase and you find a relaxation. You can also imagine yourself relaxing. For example, if you are cooking, you're having a bath in a shower. You can imagine that you're relaxing yourself. You're being in a different place. You're happy and you're being in your favorite place. So by that way, you can relax yourself.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you for that, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, I am having one question.
Yeah.
If the situation becomes uncontrollable or unmanageable, so that means assume that a patient is having a stress which is unmanageable. You are treated with some tablets, no? The patient should be treated with some tablets, depression tablets, something. If that patient is used to that tablet, without that tablet, he can't sleep. Without that tablet, he can't lead a normal life. If he addicted to the tablet, how to get out of that?
Okay, it's all right. So for this question, I'll just explain a few things. First, you have to understand that is what I said is that is stress is normal only to up to a level. So when it becomes uncontrollable, when it is becomes overwhelming, so there are some biological responses that is happening in our body, that is very specifically in our brain. So that is, there are some neurochemical changes that is happening in the brain. So when that neurochemical substances, for example, we say serotonin is a happy neurotransmitter. So when serotonin is getting secreted to normal level, you will be happy, you will be calm. So when serotonin is getting secreted less, you will definitely have some sadness, you will feel worried, you will feel irritable, you will feel very impulsive. So all is this because of the stress has created some changes in the brain, that is the serotonin can become low. So in that case, you may require some medications. That is, we cannot change anything beyond that because there is some changes that is happening in the brain. So you require some medication to elevate those serotonin. So that is what the medication is actually doing. So when you are putting on a medication, so there are that is when, for example, if we are treating a depression. So when you are experiencing a depression for the first time, you are supposed to get treated for period of 2 years. That is how the guidelines say, and that is how the research says that when you are getting treated for 2 years, you are going out of symptoms completely after the 2 years. That is, your serotonin and serotonin receptors are functioning normal. So why that 2 years is important is, it is not only about the serotonin that is neurochemical, it is also about the receptor. So it takes around 2 years to function normal. So during that period, you require medications. That is what I'm saying is about first episode. First episode of any depression or any of the psychiatric condition, you require a treatment for 2 years. So once 2 years is completed, you are completely out of symptoms, the drug should be gradually tapered and stopped. So if that is done, you can definitely get over the medicines. But in many times, what I see practically is what happens is actually the patients usually feel good in just some 2 months, 3 months, they leave the medications. So what happens when they leave the medication is they feel temporarily everything is okay, but the receptors are not functioning properly, not secreting properly. They are going to get relapse further. So when they are getting relapse further, the second set of relapse of depressive symptoms will be more higher than the first. So in that case, there are few patients who require treatment for lifelong. So that is how they are, it is a kind of, I cannot say it is very dependent. It is because the serotonin is not secreting properly, you are getting a medication. It is same like how you are getting diabetes. So once you are diabetic, your sugar level should be maintained. So if you are taking excess of any carbohydrate rich foods, if you are taking excess of any of the any rice excessively, there will be increase of sugar levels in your body. The same way, when there are environmental stressors, even you are having a treatment, but you are having an environmental stressor, which can again decline your serotonin. So this way, it will be fluctuating. So I would say that the treatment of first 2 years is more important than anything else. So if the treatment of first 2 years is done very properly, we will have very less likely to get a relapse. So you may not require medication throughout the time. So that is these are not actually addiction, except for the sleeping pills. Actually, sleeping pills you are not supposed to take more than 3 weeks. Actually, many a times sleeping pills also become addicted. So I would say only the sleeping pills are addictive, not the other medicines. So there is nothing to worry about the other medicines. So when you're having a symptoms, it is better to continue the medications, except for the sleeping medications. Sleeping medication should be gradually tapered within 3 weeks. Actually. So there are some conditions we cannot even stop. In that situation, there is no other go because the patient needs to sleep. So we will be prescribing the sleeping medications. So if you really want to get out of the medications, a gradual tapering is needed and not stopping it abruptly. Stopping it abruptly will also have relapse of symptoms. So and other things what you can do is all these relaxation techniques. So you can also engage in relaxation techniques. So doing both medications and relaxation. So this relaxation technique will also enhance your serotonin levels so that you can gradually get tapered of your medications.
Okay, madam. Thank you. Any other questions? Participants?
கமெண்ட் பண்ணா
Ma'am, I think no more questions.
Okay.
Let us go for a formal wind up.
Okay.
Nisha?
Yeah, ma'am, we will proceed. Dear delegates, it's my privilege to proceed the vote of thanks on this occasion. I would like to special thanks Dr. Ajitra ma'am for explain the diamond cut of details about the time and stress management on the today's session. Because time is it's not equal to gold, it's not equal to diamond, it's unpredictable. So the time management is very important to our life. And then you said, ma'am, one thing, saying no is an important thing to our life. Yeah, it's very important today's life because saying no is the toughest thing, but it's needed for our life. It is much more help to reduce our stress in the busiest world. Hope we are trying to follow your excellent session. Thank you so much, ma'am, for inspiring us. Once again, we thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your valuable time, madam. Excellent session. Very informative and useful session, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
We hope in future also we collaborate with you in for further anything also, ma'am. We hope this positive way. Thank you so much for that, ma'am.
Sure, thank you.
Participants, one small information, we posted the Google link in the chat box. Please fill the Google link attendance. It will be considered as a attendance for your Atal FTP. 80% attendance is important for the certification. So please fill the attendance. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Can I leave?
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am.